friends, it's Robin with Pale Bird Designs, and this week we're going to talk about airbrushing. So let's start with what the tools you'll need. You'll need a prep tumbler, some alcohol inks. I'm using the metallic Marabou ones, some 91% alcohol just to clean out your gun in between the colors, and your airbrushing gun. I like to use a prepped white tumbler. So the prep tumblers that Steel Magnolia and Craft Haven both sell, the powder coated and Steel Magnolia's prepped, both work, but I find a coat of white spray paint works the best. So I'm going to load up my airbrush with the red metallic to start, and I like to keep my gun probably 6 to 8 inches away and short, quick bursts with your alcohol ink. Making sure that you're not staying in one spot too long, and I start spraying off of the cup. I never start my airbrush directly on the cup so I don't get any too heavy spots, just in case that kind of happens. And super light coats. And we're going to start with the red and then keep going on to the orange metallic. And I spray off screen just to make sure to get all that red out of there, because there will still be your previous color in the barrel even though you've cleaned out the top portion. So just make sure to spray, like I'm on a piece of cardboard, spray a little bit, make sure you're not spraying red instead of orange, or it's really hard to cover up, especially when you get into those yellow colors. And then I do go back in with the red because I felt like it was too small of a section after I do the orange. And I just go around short, quick bursts, and I probably go around the tumbler 4 or 5 times, super light coats. And here's where I did go back in with that red, just to bring it up a little higher and blend that, which is why I didn't come as far down with the orange, because I felt like my red band needed to be a little bit bigger. And then I'll go back in with the orange to finish off that section, continuously starting my spray off of the cup so I don't get one big splotch and then have to make the rest match that. I try to keep it pretty consistent. And you'll see here, I just spray a little bit off the screen, make sure my yellow is not orange, and then keep going. And then when I'm spraying towards the edges, I like to start where I think my middle will be and then work up and down from those areas to create that nice blend, and making sure my darkest coverage is in the middle of those transitions or in the middle of those bands, and my transitions have some give to blend into each other. And tilt your cup in all different directions to make sure you like how it's looking. It's easier if you're not in direct light. I am outside in my garage here, and I found it a little bit hard to see some of the colors unless I tilted the cup a certain way to make sure I had full coverage in those areas. But you definitely want to do this in a well-ventilated area because it is alcohol and you are spraying it into the air. That or wear a respirator. I decided to do it outside because I thought I was going to be talking over it and to protect the other members of my household. So once I get to the bottom half of the cup, I do like to tilt the cup in the other direction so I can get good angles going both directions and keep my ombre pretty clean. I did go a little heavy right there on the green that you can see, but once the cup's done, you can't really tell because it's kind of an imperfect rainbow, but just watch that if you go over a spot too many times, you are going to get that heavy band of color. With the metallic purple, I do go in with the end and I paint the bottom purple as well because it's the end of the cup. So I'll go around and start the finish, spray paint the bottom or airbrush the bottom. And you can see I kind of missed some of those areas on that bottom of the cup, but sitting outside there in the sunlight looking at this metallic alcohol ink, I could not see it, but it's okay. It's still cute. So, and then I'll tilt the cup in all kinds of directions, make sure I'm happy with it. If there's any spots that you want to add more color to, you can always go back in add a little more to those areas. Just make sure you clean out that barrel of your gun with the alcohol, the 91% alcohol that you had, to make sure you're not mixing your yellow with purple right off the bat. And then you'll want to measure your cup after you've put the epoxy on it. So this was sprayed clear and then epoxied before I did my decal. So after your layer of epoxy, you'll want to measure for your decal so you know it's going to fit. And then I cut out my decal in a matte holographic from Tech Wrap and cut off the right-hand side instead of the left-hand side, which I normally do. But it's the same process. I take my little squeegee brush and just slowly wrap it around the cup, moving up and down the wrap. A little bit at a time, just make sure it's nice and flat, that it's all sticking well, it's not pulling up in any areas. And I like this because it releases from its paper really nicely. And then make sure you press down your seam really well, and then gently start peeling up the other side of your transfer tape so we can go ahead and press this side down. And our layers came out pretty close. And I'll show you how to fix any of those layers that might be a little bit off on your wrap. This design is really forgiving because you can lift it and kind of press it back down so your seams match up on it. You just got to make sure your ends reach each other. And just keep going, slowly pulling this off because I don't want to pull up my vinyl anywhere. And then on the seam, I just lift it up with my little X-Acto knife because I don't want to poke it with one of my weeding tools. So I just try to get underneath it, and then I kind of lift up and reset if it's in any spots that didn't overlap perfectly. And if it's any overlapped on the hearts, I do cut off the ends because you can see that more. And then you're going to go ahead and epoxy again. I mixed a little bit of flash white mica into my epoxy for a little bit extra shimmer. Hit it with my little mini torch. And that's it. Now you have a beautiful airbrush tumbler in this rainbow pattern. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I will be doing a live in the Glitter Guy Facebook group tomorrow, Wednesday the 29th, and I will link the products I used in the description below. Bye, friends.